you getting yourself ready for our show?
Alrighty, guys, Bobby Roast Beef here with Jigs and Bigs. We got another amazing show for you guys. I got Sean the Fisherman here. Here's what you got to know. Sean and I went to an expo. We have a whole lot of news to talk about it. We got the great opportunity to work with Three Bells Outfitters over at their booth. We made our rounds. We networked. We elbows were rubbed, people. It was fantastic. We got more stuff to talk about regarding that, but we also have this 100th show that is coming up next episode that you're not going to want to miss out on. And if you're in and around the New England area and you can get out to Springfield, Massachusetts on Saturday night, February the 5th, you can be a part of this as well. We got information about how you can get tickets, how you can get involved. Guys, get yourself something delicious for this little show we have lined up for you this week. It's Jigs and Bigs. It's a Tuesday. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. We'll be back after this. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a Tuesday. Here we are. It's Jigs and Bigs. Sean, how are you this week? I mean, it's been a week.
It has. And really, I mean, the biggest thing we can talk about over this week was, well, my Friday and your Sunday.
Yeah, really. I mean, that was huge. So, for those of you that are in and around the New England area, this was I would say one of because there's a handful of different expos that go around, but this is the one that kind of centers itself. It's calling it the New England Expo, big fishing expo, and it was great that it was back. This was my first year ever attending. Was this your first year also, Sean?
Yeah, this was. I've never been, I don't think I've ever even set foot in that town in Massachusetts.
I thought it was a joke. I thought it was in Foxborough.
No.
I was like, what?
Yeah, no, that was a great bit of radio right there. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
When I edit the show, I want to vomit all the time. I hear myself, bam. That's how I work. That's how I roll.
Well, as a youngster learning the fishing game back in high school, I know I went to the Worcester one a couple times.
Yep.
And that one stuck around for years to where I took my kids to it at least twice.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't realize they made it that far out. No kidding.
And they were 4 or 5 when I took them. So let me think of the one that went to. I think the Worcester one went to like 2012 or so. 2012, 2010, that thereabouts. It's irrelevant. I don't remember exactly what year. And I don't know if this one was running concurrently with it or if it took its place. So I have no idea.
Yeah. Interesting. It was a lot of fun, very exciting. Like I definitely, going there and got the same kind of vibes as any of the conventions I've worked otherwise. Now, we should add that we were not there presenting as Jigs and Bigs. Like we didn't have a booth. We were there to rub elbows, meet some people, and man, we met so many amazing people. First off, I want to send a big, huge shout out and thank you to every single one of you guys that came up to me on Sunday and were like, oh, we listened to the show. Thanks so much. We love your content. Like all the kind words from everybody who came up there. Also want to give a big shout out to some of the bait makers and the other brands that we networked with. And a big, huge thank you for the hospitality of inviting us along. Three Bells Outfitters. I'm glad they sold some yaks. That's always a good thing. They had a lot of people with questions about the Hobies and the natives, like that Slayer. People were into it. Even the inflatable. I forget what brand that inflatable is that they've got, but I started too late. But I kind of wanted to make it a trivia question. Where how many times did somebody pick up the nose of that inflatable? Like, oh, it's so light.
Yeah,
for like
that
a nearest lens question. I was standing there having a conversation with whomever, either Derek or one of the Pendergasts or Lauren or Adam Rourke. Like, everybody who was up there doing their thing. It was great. But yeah, I'd be having a conversation. I'd see this jostle in front of me, and that's what it was. It was the inflatable yak. But unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Did you have any of the pickles? Sean, while you were there?
No, I'm not. I'm not a pickle guy. I don't
not a
like
pickle
pickles.
guy, huh?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
a pretty big pickle guy, but I know where my bread gets buttered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know where my bread gets buttered.
Sarah brought us food. My fridge is currently stocked with stuff for you and Nelson.
Yes.
So
I'm so psyched. I'm so psyched.
there's hot, fresh roasted garden vegetable pasta sauce. There's I believe a couple of jars of pickles.
Oh,
you guys are set up. So
I do love.
Next time I see you, we'll hook you up.
I love them. I want to go ahead and say this, that yesterday was an amazing whirlwind, and if I forget to mention anybody, it is not personal. It's because I'm an old stoner, and that's the issue. Okay, I want to say I apologize if in case I forget. Like, I do appreciate everybody that we spoke to. So if we forget to mention somebody or anything like that, like, again, not a personal issue at all. But there was some really fun stuff. Like, I recorded the interview on today's show with Mike Goes Fishing at the Expo. And while I was setting that up, I figured I would just do a little live. And we had a listener who was tuned into the live from the Expo and had messaged me, and he goes, "Hey man, I know where you're at." And I invited him on. We had a little Q&A on Instagram Live that was really fun and interesting, and it was just cool. You know, it was just really, really cool. So I had a great time. You know, we definitely did some networking with some companies that we had both talked to separately. Like Fresh Baits is one specifically that comes to mind. Those guys are awesome. We're going to be in touch with them, with getting them on the show to talk about their stuff. Like, you want to talk about like really innovative, like, plastics with innovative shapes. Like, they're kind of thinking outside the box here with what they're doing. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They have this Hellgramite that is just chef's kiss. I think it hits every note. Like, every note. Just the appendages on there, I think, are just right to give it a little bit more interest. But it's a smaller enough design. It's a little bit longer than I expected it to be. That's what she said. It's also the colors that they've got are insane. There is this purple. I had to buy some of those. I had to. You know,
oh yeah,
I had to stock up. You know me in purple. I'm a Holyoke boy. Purple nights all day. So
there you go.
It's, I mean, just, oh, dude, I'm like, it's unbelievable. But they've got some color changing plastics as well that are light affected, where they adjust based on the exposure to light that they're getting. Like, very, very cool. So we're excited to have Tony and John on, and we're going to schedule some stuff with them. And I was lucky enough to actually see a demo with the Hellgramite, not at their booth on that little tank, but in the big tank that was chock full of fish. And there were, while they were kind of going over how the bait works and how to fish it and everything else, there were a couple of good bites there. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. That is pretty freaking awesome. Who else did we talk to that was absolutely awesome?
Well, I stopped by the Fresh Baits table on Friday.
Yep.
Not to just go out of my way to make sure I saw their awesome baits. Now, I have used the Scorpion in the past, and I'm still in that learning curve where I'm getting comfortable with it. So I did buy another pack of Scorpions from them, but I was there for a more sinister reason.
Oh, you were? Oh,
I
drama.
I was Nate Shagnan's errand boy.
That's right. Shags made you his errand bitch.
Yes,
Nice.
Shags was down in Kissimmee.
Yep.
Fishing the KBF trail day 1 and 2 this weekend, which I believe he finished 22nd on day 1, and then I don't know. I haven't talked to him, so I don't know what happened on day 2, but I think he finished top 50.
Yep.
Still great finishes with that level of competition.
There was like 150 anglers, right?
Yeah, 150 on day 1. I don't know if day 2 had the same amount or not.
Yep.
130 on day 2, whatever. Either way, he finished in the top half of the pack both days and the top quarter on the first day. So I ended up stopping in to get his sweatshirt, and I just walked up and I said, "Hi, my name's Sean. I'm Nate's bitch. I'm here to pick up his stuff." And then they looked at me and I said, "Dude."
Nice.
But
dude.
Thankfully the folks at Fresh Baits are well aware of the podcast. They said, "Oh, you're Sean the Fisherman. Why did you say that?" I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not an idiot or not pompous. I just
exactly. I don't expect anybody to know who Sean the Fisherman is. You know what I mean?
I know people I know to expect people to understand, cheap labor, and that's what I was. So I got Nate's sweatshirt, talked to those guys quite a bit. I'm glad to hear they're both listeners.
Yep.
And yeah, it was fun over there. I also I'm going to do a roll call here of before I get into the booths I stopped at, but all the people that I saw immediately upon. I mean, walking in the door, I was accosted by one Jerry Multi-House. Accosted.
Oh, nice.
I haven't seen Jerry in a couple months, so that was great to see him right when I walk in the door. When I got to the Three Bells setup, it was kind of split. There was an aisle in between two parts of it because Three Bells had it was like two end caps almost.
They took up a good amount of space. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was working as part of the Three Bells team, answering questions on, really any general questions, but particularly they had a Slayer model there, so I could speak on my experience with the 12.5.
Definitely.
Right when I walked over, Adam Rourke was talking with John Ferreira and Torrance Davis, so I got into a conversation with them. That was great. At some point later in the day, I saw pushing it. What turned out to be an empty stroller was Justin of the Angler Duo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were there on Friday.
Yeah, and Rhea and their son were walking around somewhere else. So I eventually, I'd met Justin before at Old Glory.
Yep.
But then got a chance to introduce myself to Rhea. Got a nice picture with them. It was good. Who else did I run into? I think I'm gonna use the Bobby roast beef clause if that's all I can remember, and I'm an old stoner.
There you go.
But as far as booths go, now I had my errand to run. I didn't want to get hit with a stick or a shoe or a slipper or something. Oh, so I had to go run to Fresh Baits. I did get to look around the place, and I got I was told right across. What am I thinking? Right across from Three Bells was Berkshire Bassins. So we were trying to get up and talk with them at some point. They're up the Shears, obviously, with Berkshires in their name.
Yep.
So it was nice to talk to them. I'm sure if we're out in the Berkshires one day, you and I will just stop in, take a peek, say hello.
Oh, absolutely.
They were right. They were right across the way. Also, I did have an errand to run to say hello to Jim over at the Rocky Ledge booth.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And it turns out there's two Jims. So I said, "Hey, Jim," and Jim turned around. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm Sean. I'm one of the directors for MAKB. Ken Wood told me to stop and introduce myself." And he goes, "Yeah, you want to talk to the other Jim?" And I go, "Oh, well, hi, Jim."
How you doing there, Jim?
I was surrounded by Jims.
I'm glad you brought up Ken Wood because your boy is a moron.
Who, you, Ken, or me?
Me.
Oh, okay.
I'm at the Three Bells booth, and I think I might have been talking with Steve O'Brien. Good old Blackbeard. I might have been talking with him at the time. I'm not 100% sure if it was at this point, but there was a guy and another dude looking at the Ike Hobie Pro Angler, right? Yep. The red one. So they're standing there and they're looking at it, and I swore on like my last breath that it was Ken Wood standing there, and it never dawned on me that he was in Kissimmee fishing the tournament down there. It didn't at all. So I go up to this guy. I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, you asshole. What's up?" And it was not him. So to that man, and I don't even think if Steve was with me, I think I dusted it off my shoulders and was like, "Whatever. We're gonna forget that happened." So. And this, as I get older, this happens more and more. In fact, there was one time where I was fishing at a local fishery around here, and I just had a great day. And this was actually like right when COVID first kind of just started, and people were getting outdoors. Like they're just like, I have nothing to do. I'm going to go for a walk. And that's all they would do. They just go and walk around. And there's one spot that I fish. There's a path that goes around the pond. And I was in the right town. So it's very possible I would have bumped into my cousin's girlfriend. And I go up to her and I was like, "Well, hey, stranger, how you doing?" And it was without a doubt not her. And then I was like, "My apologies. I am an idiot."
So
yeah.
you have a pattern of this behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's why I kind of like I try to make mention of it. Like you need to understand, I'm a moron. I might forget some stuff. I don't want to interrupt, but while you're on the Ken Wood thing, I was like that thing. Yeah. So Ken, just so you know, in New England, yeah, you do have a spot on doppelganger. Like, and this wasn't like oh, that guy looks nothing like Ken Wood. No, he 100% looks just like Ken Wood. But it never, for a second, dawned on me. I'm like, he's in Florida.
Yeah. So aside from warning Ken that he does in fact have a doppelganger,
Yeah.
we should also warn the general public now that at any given moment, Bobby Roast Beef could mistake you from someone, and you may be accosted.
It's very likely, in fact, that you're going to get, oh, hey, no, I'm gonna call you Charlie now. Yep, you're Charlie.
Yeah.
It's just that's how it's going to be. This is
look
my
like
life
him,
now.
so there you go.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what else? I'm gonna revoke the Bobby Roast Beef clause. You know who I ran into?
Who's that?
And I know you did as well. I ran into weighing in at 200 pounds from Brookfield, Massachusetts.
Yes, indeed. I got to talk with the Butcher as well, and the Butcher has some strong influence.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
Yep. So it happened.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
guys bought some
explain.
shit.
I'm going to explain exactly what it is that I'm talking about. I had a conversation. It was actually during the live. And, obviously at this show, there was a lot of different makers there for amazing swim baits. Like the big swim bait scene is starting to get really ramp up in New England area. Like there's a lot of people getting into it, throwing this. I would use the term trend. Like people are, they're interested in this. And from what I understand, on Saturday, right before that snowstorm, right before the snow really got into full swing, there were folks that were camped out there to get in because there was a specific swim bait drop. I think there were multiples with different makers and in phases. They just got in there early, got their stuff, and then went home and hunkered down for the snow. Which, for those of you that don't understand what we're dealing with here, out in that area, they had a significant snowfall and extremely high winds, very damaging storm. This could have, I think it could have gone a lot worse for some folks, but it was a messy commute when I headed out on Sunday even, and people were just kind of just starting to dig out because I think it only stopped snowing locally in our area in Western Mass about 6 p.m. So it was crazy out there, but these swim bait fans are ravenous. They can't be stopped, and they showed up. And despite anything else, they had these scheduled drops, and they showed up and bought the place out. It was crazy. So while I was doing this live, and if you go on our Instagram, you can see it. If you look on our IGTV section, you can see the post. The topic of swim baits comes up, and the Butcher chimes in, and he says, "Hey, he's like, dude, we're gonna get you throwing those on the Ranger this year. You trust me, you're gonna take a dive." And I've always to me, fishing is an adventure. It's not about 100% the competitive side or anything else. I get as much joy, breaking a PB as I do starting to learn and demystify a new technique. It's a yin and a yang. The two work together. And my thing with the big swim baits is that you get into certain weights and you really kind of need specialized gear. You need a specialized rig in order to throw it. And I've always been so what do I have? What do I need? What's the missing? And really what it is, the main thing really is the rod. What you're looking for is a heavy, long, moderate rod is basically what it is that you're looking for. So there was a suggestion made in this live from the Butcher. He was go over to this booth and check out these rods. He's they're selling for $150. You're gonna love them. Go check them out. And right before I actually headed out, I made the decision. I'm this is definitely happening. I'm doing this. Screw it. Because the counterpart to this was, I asked him, I was so what about a reel? What's the go-to? Immediately once you start talking swim bait stuff, stuff. A lot of people are specific with the models of reel that they're using. And based on the butcher's suggestion, I'm actually going to repurpose the Shimano Corrado 301 that I'm using, because it'll work in that space really well. So I'm going to take that off of my frogging rod, and I'm going to replace that probably with another 8-speed reel that I've got. And I'll play around with some, I'm basically going to play coach and, pull players off the field accordingly. And so what I ended up doing was this. After talking with Derek over at the Three Bells booth, we got into a conversation. I had I guess the good fortune of meeting the great guys over at the Cashion booth. Cashion, that's Cashion. I may be mispronouncing it, but I believe it's like Cashion, like fusion, like that. They are great folks. In fact, I had purchased one of their rods from Old Glory Outdoors as a Father's Day gift for my dad. And I had paired it up with a really nice 13 fishing reel. And this was that combo that he had basically outfished myself and Ian that day on the boat when we were out fishing with Bass Cabin. Unbelievable stuff, like really nice, high quality gear. And we were talking about some stuff over at the Three Bells booth, and they had this reel that they had on special. It was called like a blue, or maybe it was a sapphire series or something like that. It was unnamed, and they were heavily discounted. These were like $300 rods, and they were selling for like $100. So I said, I'm going to go on my way out, and I'm going to take a peek and see if they've got something that'll line up. And basically, they had heavy bait casters, but they were just they were all extra fast tips. So I'm like, all right, I'm looking for something a little bit more moderate, no big deal. And I pulled the trigger on a Cashion Icon swim bait rod, a 710, 710 heavy, moderate fast action. And this is designed, it's even got, the guides are a little bit larger than normal to compensate for, your heavy line and your heavy leader knots for all this stuff, if you're using leader and such and such. So, man, I bit the bullet. So we're doing this. And then, as luck would have it, I just recorded an interview before we started this segment with Chris Ellis, who is known in New England as making some amazing handcrafted baits. And we're going to start throwing around some stuff. It's going to be a good time. This is going to be a whole other kind of adventure, which is kind of awesome. I'm pretty excited about it. Like, zero expectation. It's the journey that's really kind of getting me, into that happy place. It's the journey that I'm really interested in. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm already wearing a flat bill hat. It's like I feel like I should be throwing big swim baits anyway. That's a bad joke. That's a bad joke.
Yeah, that one went over my head. What the fuck are you talking about?
There is that's a joke that gets made, that like it's the big swim bait crowd that wears this, and like, no, what it is, it's like the flat bill is for your glasses so it doesn't cut them off. That's why I wear it. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, so there's something seen that thrown out there. I think, who was it? Was it Randy Blockett? I think did a video about like what your hat says about you on the water. And he had like a bunch of them, and he was like wearing a flat bill one, and it looks so awkward. I mean, it looks awkward on me, but what the hell? But yeah, I don't know.
No, it doesn't. It looks fine on you. Like guys who are more slender like me, then it looks
boxy.
Yeah, it doesn't look right. Like, it looks weird. I don't know. It's just I always give my hat a little bow, a little bend.
Yep.
Whatever you call it, and that's it.
When I was in high school, I used to make bands that I would keep my hats in.
Yep.
To hold them, and I would it was almost like I was looking through a periscope.
Yeah, I did that too, and I have found the happy middle ground where it's rounded off. Most hats come like this nowadays.
Now they do. A lot of them. Most of them do.
Yeah.
They're not. You don't find like the flat bill. You have to search for. Yep. If that's what you're looking for. But, man, it's freaking bananas. But it was such a good show. Well, also got a chance. I bumped into Fishing with Becca and Lila and Noelle Roth. And I also bumped into Jessica Marie, which you should follow on Instagram. Her Instagram is... What is it? Is it J Will Fit and Fish? Letter N. Fit and Fish.
I think I already do.
Yeah, you very well might. They're going to be at our show on
Yay.
the 5th, which is going to be awesome. I think the whole crew actually is all going to be there. And, it's during our AMA. We have Fishing with Becca. She's going to be on with us. Todd's going to be there. Todd Grubb is going to be there with us as well. But as an added bonus, we're going to include Noelle. She's going to jump on. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we're just going to have ourselves a great, great time at this live show. It's going to be awesome. But I'm telling you, man, the Expo is a blast. Like, I got some interesting gear. We picked up some real special little treats, some trinkets that'll be going up and available for prizes. One of the new prizes, I'm going to go ahead and say this, man, because this comes out and it's only a handful of days beforehand. But one of the prizes that we're actually giving away on the Deal or No Deal wheel is not a lifetime. Oh my God, not a lifetime supply. A 1-year supply of fishing line. Like a full line, full array of fishing line for you. You could win this sucker. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a full year's supply of fishing line. And
that was donated by one each Derek of 3 Bells.
Yeah, it was very nice, Derek. That was very, very great. I have a couple of jerk baits for you, my friend, that have been refinished. I think they're jerk baits. I have a couple of baits that had to be re-clear coated, I believe. Those you'll be getting very soon. Man, it's just I'm so psyched.
I picked up a couple jerk baits myself. Did you visit that booth that I recommended?
I stopped in there. There was a good little crowd around there. So every time I went by, they were pretty packed. So I just kind of went in there. But they had a really interesting variety of stuff. What was the booth? Was it Plugged?
Yes, it was Plug Baits. They're out of Pennsylvania.
I didn't realize they were that far out. No kidding.
Yep. I believe the owner's name was Jerry, and he had his, soon-to-be son-in-law, Mike. If I'm forgetting the names on that, guys, I apologize. I have your names written down on the card downstairs, and I'm upstairs recording here because I'm a piece of shit.
Well,
so I apologize. But yeah, no, they were great. I talked to them for, maybe 20, 30 minutes. Just it was at a little bit of an ebb in the crowd on Friday night. We were bullshitting, and it was great to meet them. They had some nice baits, and there were a couple of jerk baits that jumped out at me, and I made sure to get a hold of those. I don't, I'm me, and I've said it before on the show with my tackle. I'm very, very, I limit myself for a reason, and it works for me. Yep. And they had something that I felt that fit into my tackle box. So we're going to see if that's true or not. Yep. So,
once I saw him, I was just like, oh yeah, I 100% can see why you're drawn to this pattern and everything else. So, really, really fantastic. It was a good show. It was very busy on Sunday. People all over the place, which I sort of kind of expected it to be because there were just so many people. Where was I? I saw Crazy Hick Baits was over there. I saw Wicked Custom Rods. Bumped into 603 Bass up that way. Who else did I bump into?
I missed a few people. Now we should probably take a step back and let everyone know how this schedule went. Now Friday, I was supposed to be there Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
Friday we got out there and there was a good crowd on Friday, but really the talk of the day was, aside from swim baits, was that we had a nor'easter come up that was nasty. Whereas
crushed it. Yeah.
Usually the way storms hit Massachusetts, it's like almost always the Berkshire Mountains get a ton of snow, and then it just tapers down gradually across the state till you have near nothing at the ocean. And then this was the opposite, where Boston and the surrounding area got smashed. They were the epicenter. Some places getting up to 30 inches. That's bad.
That's a lot of snow.
Yeah, at my house, even with the drifting, I think I found, it was like 4 or 5 inches. It was really not a bad snowfall. But out there, they got hammered. So how that impacts the show, you think, well, if you want to drive, just be careful. Well, the problem was it was windy. So the wind was making almost whiteout conditions. And then on top of that, you've got all that snow coming down. How are you keeping the parking lot cleared? You can't have everybody there on a Saturday and expect to have, proper parking. And it's just a mess. Logistically, it's just a shit show. Myself and most of the 3 Bells crew, actually all of the 3 Bells crew, we had all booked hotel rooms at the same place.
Yep.
And immediately when I went to check in, the hotel had said, if we got snow coming in, you can cancel without any issues. we're not going to charge you or anything. I
Oh,
said, well,
that's cool.
phenomenal.
Good. At least they did that.
So the call was made in sake, for safety's sake, because we did have a good ride up 495 to get there.
Yep.
From the hotel. The call was made that Saturday was not going to be a Three Bells, day at the show. Just it would have been dangerous. Like,
No, it's smart.
So yeah, smart call by Lauren. I mean, I understand that everyone's psyched for a show. You're exposing the brand to new faces, but I don't think there were a lot of people there anyway Saturday. I mean, it seemed like most of the crowds appeared on Friday, and then you were there Sunday.
Yep.
Because I, of course, had basketball.
Yep.
Which, hey, kids are 5-0.
That's awesome, dude. 5-0 is big.
5-0. They played a team. They were shorthanded, and the kids still came through and won by a good margin. Just defense, baby. I preach it. They play it.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So you had your adventure Sunday. I had my adventure Friday. We met so many people, and honestly, this was such a fruitful event for us. Everyone who's listening is going to hear.
Oh yeah.
This just coming down the road, because all these different people that we talked to were like, yeah, we'd love to do an interview. Yeah, we'd love to come on the show. Yeah. I mean, this is after the 100th show. It starts a new chapter with Jigs and Bigs. We are just ready. Now we're Expo goers.
Oh yeah. Now
That's
it's what it's all about. It's growing your circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just expand and you network and you meet people, and this can lead to amazing things for everybody, for the show, for those guests. Like there's stuff that we want to do that, everything that we do, it's all content, but we're going to have a blast doing it. It's going to be really good and really exciting. So I'm very excited about it. I'm psyched. We have all kinds of great stuff coming up. And I mean, we had mentioned before that we are doing another live show at the Eastern States Sportsman Show. That's on Saturday, February 26th. We're going to be doing a live segment recording there. We're basically going to record our first segment of the show for that next Tuesday, and it'll be a good time. We're going to have a whole lot of fun there. That to me, that is the show where that was the first expo I had ever gone to when I was a kid. I remember going with my dad being like, this is awesome. Like, this is so cool. And I didn't even realize that it was still going on all these years. And I mean, I think that show's been going on now for like 40 years. It's been a long time.
I hit it late in life. The first time I ever went, because my parents weren't outdoorsy folks, I never went.
Yeah.
I went to the Worcester one a couple times, and I never went to this one. And I went as an adult with my kids, and they got to fish to the trout pond and have a little fun with that.
Sure,
there's a trout pond in there, but I'm excited for it. I think myself and possibly Nelson are going to be kicking around the show on Friday, just saying hello, handing out stickers, doing our thing, and we'll see. We'll see what kind of fun we can have there. And then Saturday's going to be a blast. Me and you being ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And then on Sunday, I'll be back because I'm going to be doing the walkthrough and just like, rubbing elbows and handing out stickers and all kinds of that. I still have a good amount of stickers left from the show.
Yeah.
Oh, but
you got them.
I got them.
I left them there for you. I used Three Bells as a middleman.
Three Bells is good friends to have. In fact, one of the things that had spawned from this, us just being in there and, obviously, like, as you talk to people, you're brainstorming and things, we're going to have Lauren from Three Bells on about the ins and outs of financing a brand new kayak.
Yes.
Because this is the time of year that you want to go and do that. If you're going to start this way you get an entire season using that new boat. And I'll tell you what, it's a whole lot more achievable than some folks might really think that it is. I mean, genuinely, like, the options are limitless. You could go with, just getting a hull and, work on it and modify it bit by bit. You could go full boat and do everything all in one shot. There's a lot that you can do, and it's worth doing. I mean, it's like the deals that they have going with, financing options is why, most of them are 0% down. Like, that's fantastic. So
yeah,
it's great.
Definitely have to have her on.
Yeah.
That's one of the pieces of the puzzle that we're putting together for everyone between, I mean, I know it's the Northeast, guys. We're in the Northeast. We know it.
We get
it's
it.
what we have to react to.
Yep.
It's show season for us, Expo season for us right now. That is going to very, very, very quickly in the next 60 days just absolutely transform right into fishing season, because it's not going to be long before, the eastern part of the state gets thawed out, and you want to, we're going to do everything we can to prep you, whether you're getting into a new kayak, whether you're thinking about going out for tournaments for the first time, whether you're ready to try a new bait. Bobby and I have some stuff lined up that we've been talking about, especially yesterday. For no reason, we were on the phone a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
And to then this morning even too. But we have some things that we think are going to help you. I'm not going to say become a better fisherman, but figure out your way.
Yeah,
figure out your path in fishing.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and have the best time you can while you're doing it.
Yep.
So we're here for you, motherfuckers.
That's what I love though about fishing is it can be so many different things to so many different people, whether you're, for some people, it's just the act of going out and connecting with nature is just cathartic, if that's what you need to do, and that's where you sort of find your Zen moment. Do it. You know what I mean? Embrace it. Some people, it's like it's this chase of adventure. They're always looking for like that next outing, conquering this thing. Other folks, it's a competitive thing, and it's all about, elevating their game and how many wins can I rack up against some real heavy hitters in this little world that I'm in. And whether that's from a kayak or a big boat, or you're doing big boat tournaments even as a co-angler, and you're just hopping on boats here and there. Some folks get into that world just to learn. Just so they can get the exposure of like, hey, I'm going to plant myself on dude's boat for 6 to 8 hours, and I'm going to try to just absorb as much information as I can about this and be the best that I can while I'm out there. For other folks, it's a means to feed their family. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly, like, fishing can be so much to so many different people. It's like, it's absolutely wild. I'm psyched, man. I am absolutely psyched for some of the stuff we've got lined up, and it's just starting to happen.
So bottom line, you and I had a phenomenal weekend, and this was our first Expo, and we're both psyched.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm psyched about, is 5 days from now.
Yeah, man, it's coming. The 100th episode. So you're listening right now. You're listening to episode 99. Unless a giant asteroid or comet like flails into the Earth, our next episode is going to be reason to celebrate in a huge way. Go ahead and get ready. Yeah, book the balloons, book the cakes, because next Tuesday is the 100. The donkey show. Yes, book the donkey. The next week's episode is our 100th episode, our centennial. Unbelievable that we've gotten to this point so far. Hang on, that's worthy of a double, damn it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Just really, it's just an honor to be here. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for rating and reviewing. We appreciate you guys. We really do.
Rate and review. Don't forget to rate and review, people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing about podcasting. One of the things that I have learned since we've been, let's take a look back here. Let's turn back the pages of podcast history a little bit. In the last 99 episodes, what have I learned about podcasting? It's that there is a certain segment of the population that understands why we use this format for what we do, and they love it. And we love them for loving it. We do. It's because you can take this format and you can digest it however you wish. You can listen to this in segments, but you can do it passively. So while you're in the car, if you're taking a train, if you're flying somewhere, you can consume this without having to be looking at a screen or anything like that. And you can always come back to it. You can download it and have it played locally. Lots of things. Then there's another segment of this population that has no idea why we use this platform. No idea. They just don't understand it. And it's okay because you can stream us on our website as well, jigsandbigs.com. You can stream it right there. But what Sean's talking about when he says rate and review, based on your podcast platform of choice, you can actually give us a rating. And I think a lot of people don't realize, but you can actually rate us on Spotify too. Apple Podcast, lots of folks use Apple Podcasts. In fact, the majority of our listening audience does listen. Over half of you listen on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you. Go ahead and leave a review over there. Leave a rating. That's awesome. But our Spotify users, that's the number 2 to Apple Podcast. It's a good, realistic chunk of our audience. Those users can go to our podcast on Spotify and give a star rating over there, and that does help us get some visibility. So we appreciate that.
And that's that small portion of the population that doesn't know. They wouldn't rate us they wouldn't rate us or listen to us if they were taking a dump or pulling a train. They wouldn't.
To them, it's pretty much one and the same. Pretty much one and the same. But yeah, I mean, where was I going with this? So there was one other thing actually this week that kind of happened that was huge that we have to touch on. We had been talking about our merchandise for a long time, for now months. We've been talking about it, and our store has been, it's been over a month that our store has been offline. And we had been working with a local company to bring a really wide, diverse amount of merch. So we wanted to offer, some of the standard items that you would get to support a creator of any kind, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, things like this. But we're anglers. We spend out our time out in the sun. It's like we want things that lend themselves to that. So the performance gear, stuff like that. That was a big highlight to have that available. In fact, when I saw the Butcher, he was sporting one of our performance shirts at the Expo. And
was he?
Yeah, he was. He was rocking one of our performance shirts.
Was he? Which one? The original or the metal?
The OG. The OG logo. So he comes up. So, I mean, it was great to have that stuff there. And unfortunately, that company decided that it was not in their best interest to keep our store up running. I want to throw this out there that it would have been nice if they let us know that they were taking our store down for that reason. So we found out the hard way. We went and asked. And we were put in a position where we basically had to figure something out. So moving forward for Jigs and Bigs merchandise, we have a solution. There is already a store up on jigsandbigs.com. If you go there now, we're calling that line the Jigs and Bigs Essentials line. You can order hats. We've got 3 different styles of hats. We've got hoodies. We've got t-shirts. And in fact, we even have ladies t-shirts. And we also have, I threw in this little extra one. And I got a little flack from Berkshire Brett for this. I threw in, there's 2 sizes, a smaller and a larger one, an accessory pouch. And your boy BRB is very big in the whole EDC and bag packing sort of mentality when I put stuff together. Your boy loves pouches like this, right? In fact, this pouch right here I use for our digital recorder. It goes in there to keep it safe. I can put it in a bag. I use that when I brought it to the Expo when I recorded that segment. Like, pouches are really handy, but let's say you want to put together a small pouch of baits that maybe you keep in your glove box. When you're at a family barbecue at a park and there's a pond there and you've got a rod, but maybe you don't want to bring a bunch of your whole backpack full of baits or anything like that. You can keep one of these handy with some baits and some terminal tackle, maybe some leader line and a pair of pliers. You're good. So I was like, I kind of think I want to throw that in there. Plus, if you wanted to utilize one of these pouches inside your backpack to put maybe all of your leaders, all of your line all together in here to keep them bunched together so that you can easily just grab what you need and take it and go. That's a good idea. So I put that up there too, but we're going to add some other items on there periodically. So what happened to the performance gear? We're going to take this seasonally. That's the decision we came up with. Sean and I got together, and we pounded about 75 pots of coffee over at Mrs. Mitchell's.
We did.
True
story.
Yeah, and we ate at least 35 omelets apiece because we put our noses to the grindstone, and we figured out a plan. I don't know if you've heard, but we're a podcast. We're not an apparel company. We're not a lot of these things. And we tried to come up with different plans of attack of ways to make this happen. We didn't really have a big interest in doing and carrying any kind of inventory and having to worry about shipping out orders or anything like that. So we're gonna bite the bullet and do that on a minimalist scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to launch 6-week runs where we'll do pre-orders that are up for a period of 6 weeks. And we fill out that number of orders. And then what we'll do is we'll put those together. But what's cool about this is that this is where your performance gear is going to come in. This is where your unique one-off t-shirt ideas are going to come from. Where we may do collabs with other artists to come up with different designs. You might see a shirt that's, all about a little tongue-in-cheek joke about just the tip. Something like that. Like, it's show-related stuff, but it'll be unique. And then we'll archive it, and then we'll only bust into that archive for celebrative sort of reasons, like we're doing something huge and this was really popular. We'll bring that back. We're going to experiment with doing some stuff with outerwear, Jigs and Bigs branded raincoats, and other items for outerwear, things like that. Hell, if we can do Jigs and Bigs freaking what am I thinking of here? Waders. I'd love to do that. I don't know if we could.
That'd be nice.
That would be great. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff like that. If there's a way that we can brand it, and we do want to release a Jigs and Bigs backpack as well. Yep. So when you're out beating the bank and you're doing your thing, or maybe you get, this is something great, like you want to. Maybe you have kids and you've made poor parenting decisions and you allow them to listen to our program. And so much to the point that you allow them to wear the merch to school. You could send them in a Jigs and Bigs backpack. Something like that. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. So you're definitely going to want to, there's a couple of things. First and foremost, these drops will be released to our jig heads first. They will get a 7-day advance on all of them. And then after that, they'll all be dropped on social media, and we're cultivating actually a mailing list right now. And that mailing list will be, anytime we do some kind of a drop with something, you will get an email about that information when it goes live, and we're going to set that stuff up. 2 things I want to mention first and foremost about that Jigs and Bigs Essentials store that is huge. First off, we've updated that Jigs and Bigs logo shirt.
I was just going to make mention of that. Can I talk about it?
Go ahead. Do it.
Ooh, can I do it?
Do it.
The original Jigs and Bigs logo shirt has a big FTG on the back right now. So you guys enjoy that.
Yep. Just real subtle. It says FTG. Real
subtle. In the biggest letters we could make.
It could say, fuck that guy. It could, but we chose to just put FTG. So we did this because this is a conversation starter. If you wear this shirt, folks are going to say, what the hell does FTG mean? Oh, I follow Jigs and Bigs on Instagram. What does FTG mean? This is your chance to go like, oh, that guy that went by on his boat freaking mooning us and telling us to fuck off. Well, fuck that guy. That's what that's about. So we updated that. The other cool thing is this. All of the prices on our merch store include shipping. There is free shipping on everything there. So you're not going to select a bunch of items and go like, oh, I have to mortgage my house so I can get this shit sent to me. Thanks, FedEx. No, instead, you get prices that include shipping. So it's shipping included on everything there. And I'm working on some promo codes for the jig heads.
Good.
I'm working on some promo. Yeah, they deserve it. They definitely do, man. So we'll go ahead and drop some of that info as well. It'll save them a little bit, and we'll go ahead and make it all happen. It's going to be very, very, very interesting.
We should make mention as to exactly why we don't carry stock of stuff, and this is all, made to order. We have contacts.
Yeah,
we know people that do apparel.
We're people who know people.
And we've seen the effects of the amount of hooks at hoodlums apparel that's scattered all over Andrew's third servant quarter at his lake house. And it's just completely disrupted his life.
It really has. Like, it's nuts.
I mean, how are they supposed to get at, each ski-doo that's parked right next to that with all those boxes in those servants' quarters? How?
I mean, you want to talk about like overcomplicating your own lifestyle when you're like, how am I supposed to get to my third wave pontoon boat when I have to climb over all of these, arrive as a king, leave a legend hoodies that are blocking my way,
all those things were
It's
in the
the
way.
reeling in life compound, really, is what it is.
The
It's the
servant, in particular, it's the servants that are tasked with just waving a palm at him to keep him cool day in, day out.
Well, I mean, they insulate so well.
I know.
Those hoodies. Oh, and I had a conversation with one Mrs. Sarah Pendergast about that hoodie. The Arrive a King, Leave as a Legend.
Yes.
She said, why isn't there one that says Arrive a Queen?
Ooh.
I think that there is an opportunity for an amazing special session for that design.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, who the hell am I? Who do I think I am making these suggestions? Am I fucking Joe Brown? Who the fuck is Joe Brown?
Who the fuck is Bobby Roast Beef?
Exactly. But, I'm like, that is a good opportunity. So we're going to, anyway, let's put the focus back on Jigs and Bigs.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Cut that. Getting back to our drops, our goal, and we're going to try to make this happen because we're talking to a number of different companies to figure out minimums and what's the best decision, because what we want to do is we want to offer you guys the highest quality that we can with our stuff. So that's what we're looking for, is like who works with these companies that are of a different level. And also we want to do, options are always great. So we want to release this and our goal is to shoot for a summer drop. We realize that spring is probably cutting it really close, but by summer, we would like to have our first drop with at least performance gear, potentially performance gear, and a specialty shirt. So that's kind of, there'll be two separate orders and they'll get shipped differently, but I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So that's where we're at as far as merchandise goes for Jigs and Bigs. You guys can get the Essentials line anytime at jigsandbigs.com. We will be adding to that shop page for drops. You'll actually see a banner when we have a new merch drop there. You'll be able to go and make your orders right online, get everything all set up, and then we'll send out the order to go and we'll get you your stuff. It's going to be so awesome. And this is great too, Sean, because now we get to plan this stuff out and we say like, oh, well, there's that new shirt or there's that jacket. We got to get that. By the way, while we're talking about merch, any of you guys at the Expo over the weekend, or at least on Sunday, if you saw me there, I was wearing the one-of-a-kind Jigs and Bigs hockey jersey. You guys saw this. If you're a jig head, you saw this on the live stream from Lake Champlain. I had talked about it when I was surprised at one of my trivia nights by some Three Bells fam, by some Fishing Report fam, by some Hookset Hoodlums fam, and I mean all kinds of folks got together and blew my mind. Put together this shirt. Sean, I didn't tell you this. I walked out of the show with that new Cashian rod, right? Walked out of the show, had my samurai tactical backpack on full of all my gear, and I left my jacket in the truck intentionally because I didn't want to have to leave it around and then like track it down later or anything. So I left it in the truck. And I was walking back in, and there was this dude in this pickup, and it was full of people, and he honks on the horn. He's like, hey, I love your content, man. Thank you. He's like, your show is great, which is awesome. It was fantastic. He's like, so I told him, I said, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. He's like, dude, he's like, and your merch is on point. He's like, where can I get one of those? We got to make that a drop.
I know. I think that might be for the winter because even with the companies we worked with prior, hockey jerseys were a completely different beast.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to do is we're going to look. But like I said, we're entertaining this with multiple companies. We're reaching out where if we can make this work, we'll announce what we have to get in order for this to go, the numbers that we need to get in order to meet the minimum for them to do it. And we're obviously going to, the plan is that if it's close and we can make it happen, we're going to kick in for the additional so that we can get that minimum. And then there's the opportunity that we'll be using some of that additional merch that comes in as giveaways for certain things. We'll outfit some listeners.
I just had a really great brainstorm that I'm
Yeah.
just going to share with you and all the listeners.
Fired away.
Why have we not investigated doing a basketball style jersey, like a tank? You know what I mean? A basketball.
Ironic
top?
you say that, man. We're the home of basketball. We should.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. We should do a Jigs and Bigs basketball jersey 100%. And I was thinking, I'm like, we should do all sorts of sports.
Volleyball, Holyoke, dude.
Holyoke, yeah, absolutely. We're volleyball, you know?
Holy shit.
Yeah. Dude, I have wanted to do an embroidered baseball jersey, Jigs and Bigs baseball jersey for the longest time.
We might
Yeah.
have to make a four season sport line here.
Yep.
Wow.
One other
All right.
item that I would like to do, and the thing is, I can't include this in the online store for the essentials, but I would love to get into doing some of those PVC Velcro backed morale patches.
Oh yeah.
I think those would be awesome, man, because I've got this band of Velcro that goes across my Samurai tactical backpack, and I also have another one that's a little bit more narrow on my Samurai tactical sling bag, and they're crying for a Jigs and Bigs morale patch. And I think this is a great opportunity. Like that would be awesome. In fact, what would be great is if we could get into these and do them and make them a live show exclusive.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be great.
We have ideas. We're just smart humans.
Yeah, I mean, you guys think we do this podcast because we like making content. No, we just need an actual record of our conversation so that we could go back and figure this shit out.
Again, reference Bobby Roast Beef, old stoner comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it was such a great week. Like, it really was. We got a lot done. This week's going to be intense because we've got the live show. That's coming up on Saturday the 5th. By the time you guys hear this, it's gonna be 5 days away, and it's gonna be a blast. Word on the street is I think we're gonna have more people there than we're planning on. I do. I mean, we've had waves of ticket sales here and there. Some folks are just like they're on it. They're making it happen. Other folks are they need to wait either to see what's going on with the weather. And now that we can kind of see it in the 7-day forecast, we know that it looks like even though Thursday and Friday are going to see some rain and some snow, and Saturday is going to be cold. Saturday should be clear. Like there should be no issues for anybody getting out and enjoying themselves at this show. So as a quick reminder, our show is happening at 7 p.m. on February the 5th, Saturday night. It's over at the Nathan Bill's Bar and Restaurant, specifically in the Thomas J. Sullivan Memorial Banquet Hall. So if you go into the regular bar over there and you just say, "Hey guys, I'm here for this fishing thing," or "I'm here for the podcast," they're going to know and bring you over. Our bartender for the night is Shannon. Shannon is a lovely individual. She is awesome. I told her, I said, if you have sensitive ears, you might want to have some earmuffs for that. And she said, no worries. I talked to the staff over there and I said that this show contains some language, just a heads up. And we're going to have ourselves a hoedown over there is what we're going to do. I'm excited about having our guests come out. I'm excited about, all this stuff. It's going to be really, really, really fantastic. We've got a couple special friends coming up from Maryland. That's in the works. We have some prizes to give away. We're doing what I think we're going to do is a deal or no deal. We're going to do it in 3 different segments. We're going to do segment 1. We'll end with a round of deal or no deal. And then we're going to reset the board, reset the prizes and everything. And after segment 2, we're going to do another round of deal or no deal. And then on segment 3, we're going to do our final round. And then I think we're just going to start pulling numbers because every attendee at this live event is receiving a packet of great stuff. Like great stuff. A card that lists all of our vendors that are there and their information and any promo codes or anything that they want associated with that. They're also going to receive with that some promotional items from some of these vendors that are providing us with some of this stuff. What can you expect? We're talking about small items that you can throw in there. We have, I don't want to give anything away of what's in there, but there's some stuff. In fact, one company specific, Reaction Tackle, blew my fucking mind today with what they sent over because I just got the package of what they've got lined up. And dude, there are prizes galore, like so much good stuff. And what they're including in there is an accessory that It's often overlooked. I use one of these myself. It's tied onto my kayak seat right now, out, and I use this thing all the time for a handful of different applications, and it comes in really, really handy. We're going to tell you what that is next week when we break it all down, but everybody who shows up is getting one of these items. It's just very, very exciting. We're very, very happy to be doing this. Very lucky, hashtag blessed, if you will, to have the connections in the fishing community that we've made that are really fantastic folks. There is talk that we might have an Old Glory Outdoors employee actually digesting live bait on command as a little sideshow. You know what I mean? That's pretty much how it's going to go. It's as like a sideshow. So if you want to get your tickets, and I advise everybody, do us a favor, make sure that you get your tickets in advance. We will have somebody there allowing people at the door, so we'll be able to take, you'll be able to get a ticket, quote unquote, at the door. But again, we only have about 100 seats. That's it. After that, we're kind of screwed. So if you especially if you're traveling, you're making a trip, and it's a mission for you to get here, get your advance tickets. Go to jigsandbigs.com. You can get your tickets. They're $10 a pop. A large portion of that goes to our friends at Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again. This whole endeavor has been to raise money for them. We've got we're going to be presenting them with a big check, doing the cheesy, Instagram poses with the giant check and everything. It's going to be really great. They'll be on hand. I'm hoping they're going to have some information too about cleaning up waterways and stuff. And if you're not local, and let this be a point of inspiration for you, like 100%. Let what they're doing out there inspire you to go ahead and maybe drop those nuggets of info to do something with in your area. But tickets are available. Go ahead and get them ASAP. Get them now. Maybe you're listening to this show right now. Pause this show. We'll wait. And get your tickets. Get your tickets for the 100th episode, Jigs and Bigs, live recording. Amazing. You're not going to want to miss this. And as a reminder, I've had a lot of people ask Sean, I don't know if people have asked you, are we going to have this as a live stream as well while it's happening live so that our jig heads can watch as it's going on? Unfortunately, with what we have lined up, we can't do it live. It would be so boring because you wouldn't see all of the stuff that's going on. We wouldn't be able to give you the camera angles or anything like that. The show itself, the podcast is still going to be entertaining as hell, but as a jig head, really, we wish that you guys can be there. All the lag in between. Once we edit the show, it's going to be great. It's having it go live because there's going to be pockets where there's not going to be a whole lot going on, and people are going to be ordering drinks from the bar and ordering food, and it's going to be, to live stream that would just not necessarily be worthwhile. To have what we're looking at right now on screen, that's the best that we could give them. Actually, it wouldn't even be that. It would only be one image, So we'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
We're not CBS's fucking NFL football camera crew here.
Not yet. That's coming.
Yeah, not yet.
Episode 200. We'll talk. Episode 200. We'll talk.
Yep.
I freaking love it, man. I love it. Of course, we had a little discovery this weekend too. Not that kind of discovery, but a little bit of a discovery. Some nugget of information crossed our path that a certain Instagram profile is edging painfully close to 1,000 followers.
As of right now, it happens to be at 983.
Holy shit. Last I knew it was 975. So you're making moves, man. People are following you. That's really good. So that makes it 27 followers away from triggering another giveaway from the Jigs and Bigs fam, which is freaking amazing.
No. Hey, old stoner with the math. How many?
27.
27 plus 83 is 110.
Oh, 17. Even holy shit.
Remember, folks, get your edibles at INSA.
Hang on.
Using crack and cocaine to get high.
Oh, God. That's the kind of show that we do when I can go ahead and throw. Somebody actually said that in my live stream. They're like, hey, is that an INSA hat?
Yeah, I saw. I did watch the live stream yesterday while I was doing some other stuff at the computer. So I had to
Nice.
laugh at that.
Yeah, I was like,
so yeah,
it
we're
is.
17 away. Another giveaway gets triggered at 1,000, and that'll be my first 1,000, putting me up in the stratosphere with the Bobby Roast Beef account.
It's getting there.
Yeah, and I think really, people are jumping on. It's really good. I'm not going to press it too much, but on the topic of Instagram followers, I want to send a nice shout out.
I love a shout out.
My boy and your boy, Dust Off Fishing, hit 10K this weekend.
Yes, that's right. That was just this weekend, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So congrats to him. That's a huge number. He probably partied like we did. Well, he probably didn't party like we did. Probably partied in a different way.
I'm sure he did. What'd you guys
Being military, there's rules.
Exactly. Well, and also, we've got some years on him too. We were probably in bed by 8:30, and he was, watching the 11 o'clock news.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was good, man. We're about to hit it, and he hit that number, and
yeah. It's happening. It's happening.
Keep pushing it.
And of course, Cheryl does such a great job with the fishing report. Really does a great job. We have amazing contributors that jump in this, and I'm telling you, I wish I was catching some fish so I could put some input here. But it is kind of nice to have such a good group of people giving some info about what they're experiencing out on the water and providing some details. So very, very cool. Very, very excited. Once we get some open water, that's going to change, though. I'll be able to participate a bit more.
Yeah, and the report right now, we've tried to say it's weekly, bi-weekly. It's not. It's irregular. It's just based on who's getting out there. This weekend, I don't think anybody fished because there was so much snow.
Yeah.
Maybe the folks out in the Berkshires did. I don't know if Brett got out, but we'll find out this week. If there's not enough, she pushes it to the next week. We're okay with it. We understand that this time of year, it's a different breed that's out there, and not all of them are fishing reporters. So
it's tough when you're doing this and you're making content. It's tricky to deliver fishing content all 12 months of the year. It really is. Ice fishing is great, but that can vary year by year. You can have a year where barely anybody's getting on the ice, but it's freaking nuts. And then as a quick reminder, guys, Jigs and Bigs does have a YouTube channel. We've been doing stuff with adding little clips here and there. So if you're on YouTube and you're like, oh yeah, I like to check this stuff out, we've been putting little snippets of the show with the guests before they come on. So if you kind of want to get an idea of what's going on with all that, we also are going to be posting some video content as well. That's I'd like to say it partners with the podcast. So as we continue to grow, that will kind of grow along with it and sort of catch up. But man, there's some good stuff happening.
Bobby, one last thing before we break here.
Yes.
So I just want to make note that the Chronic Trips tournament is still going on. Normally I would hit that in segment 2, but I'm going to hit it hard on episode 101 because then it's going to be the last month of the tournament. Things are going to be winding down. It's still, a three-person race here. So if anyone wants to jump in on that, there's prizes available. The more people that come in, the better prizes there are. And no one's run away with it. So if you jump in, again, fresh water, salt water, ice, no ice, does not matter. Shore, boats, we don't give a shit. Fly rods, well, it's got to be rod and reel, fly rods, bait casters, we don't give a shit. Bait, lures, come on out, fish Chronic Trips. The whole point is getting out on the water and, doing it in the Chronic Trips way. Yeah, if possible. And
where legal and appropriate.
Yep. So jump in on that. And we'll talk more about that on episode 101 because episode 100 is a whole different can of worms. That's really our giant sized anniversary issue right there for all you comic book fans. Episode 100 is like issue 100, and that's why I think that's kind of what started it, right, Bobby? My love of comic books, and I said, dude, episode 100, we gotta do something. It's got to be a giant sized issue right there. Culmination of a storyline.
We got some good stuff. I mean, we really do. I think I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to go ahead, guys. We're going to throw and take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we have an interesting Just the Tip this week, and we have some more info for you in segment number 2. And don't forget, guys, I've got Mike Goes Fishing. He is with us in our third segment for our interview. Great conversation with him. If you're not following him, he's on YouTube. You should definitely check him out. He's a Sixth Sense partner, and he's got some good info for you. So go ahead and check that out in our third segment. We will be right back after this. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code Jigs and Bigs, and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan, "Start 'em young," to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code Jigs and Bigs. Save some money and gear up now.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
Yeah. Well, here we are, guys. It is time for Just the Tip, segment number 2 for Jigs and Bigs. This week, this Just the Tip is kind of a different one. We're not going to talk about specific tackle necessarily. We're not going to jump down your throats about how you should network or anything. I mean, I guess it kind of touches on that a little bit. We're not going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about getting out. Getting out and going to your local fishing expos. These happen all over the country. If you Google your area and you look a fishing or outdoors expo, wherever you're based, your odds are you're going to find something within a couple hours of your area. I mean, these things happen all the time. Some at a really grand scale, some at a really, really small scale, and some most right kind of in between. It's highly worthwhile to get out there and mingle with the fishing community. You know, go ahead and look at like some local bait makers. It's a great way to also, socialize with the fishing community. It's funny, in this last interview that I recorded with Chris Ellis, he had mentioned that was one of the things about this sport that makes it so unique is that social aspect. There's so much there, and there's so much that you can learn by networking with folks. And it makes your experience when you bump into these people out on the water very pleasant. Instead of being, awkward or anything like that, you get to know some people, and it benefits your overall experience as a whole. And then there's the networking side of it. If you're a tournament angler and you're looking for, maybe you're looking for sponsors or something like that, this is a great way to put a face to the name and have a conversation with the people that you're looking to, you make an impression, a real impression, with people who you may want to partner with, or, it's also a great way to get info about like what's coming, what's new, and in some cases you can get some deals. I mean, with this swim bait rod that I had purchased, I think I saved $40 on it. You know?
And conversely, aside from local bait makers, you might have something that's not local, but it's not super far away.
Yeah.
Case in point was Plugged Baits.
Yep.
They're not from California. They're from Pennsylvania, but I never would have come across their lures.
Yeah.
Had I not been walking around the show saying, "Wow, look at these," and we'll see how they work for me in the spring. But another big thing too, and you and I talk about this all the time, Bobby.
Yep.
Like, and I'm gonna wrap it. This is gonna go out for a little bit, but I'm gonna reel it back in.
Gotcha.
Into how it works with shows. But sometimes we as competitive on the competitive side angler,
Yep,
thinks that like they catch big fish and they do well in tournaments, and that's going to somehow translate into sponsorships or collaborations or whatever. And that's not the case.
Yes.
Because that in my opinion is a great analogy that can be made for that is the episode of South Park with the underwear gnomes, where they show their business model and it says collect underwear. Step 2 is nothing. And step 3 is profit.
Yeah.
So there has to be something going on to make that profit. The profit in this case being your money, goods, whatever, being attached to your collaboration or your sponsor. You've got to show sponsors or any businesses that are out there trying to get their product out that you can do that. Not that you can catch fish with it. No one cares about catching fish. It's that you can talk about their product or tell other people that this product is effective in catching fish, and then other people buy it.
Exactly.
This isn't rocket science, but you have to be able to do that. And look, I know there's anglers out there that, competitive or not, are like, I don't like being around people. I get that.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
that's step 2, collect underwear. Step 2, step 3 is profit.
Yeah.
No, you gotta do something with the underwear. Then you get the profit.
I feel like so much of what you just said is exactly the point that Cody Jennings from Jig Masters was making about, that relationship. Like, cool, you caught a big fish on my bait. Well, just you catching that fish doesn't mean that all of a sudden everybody's going to go and buy it. Like, they have to see that you caught that fish on that big bait, and you need to engage with them enough so that enough people are actually seeing this, and then actually talk about the bait and make it easy for people who are interested in that to go ahead and do it. So, like, when you're looking to network and you're looking to grow, this is that networking side I said we're just going to graze on. But again, like, when you look at it like that, in this way, if you like, in tying it into an expo, if you're there, you can state your case, and then what you get is you get this different element that you can't get in a DM, and that's you can talk to somebody and have a conversation and make them believe in you. That you can't do with a DM. You have to go like, all I have are my followers. All I have are my numbers. All I have are my stats. All I have is this. I'd like to work with you. But if you have a conversation and you have a compelling discussion and engagement with somebody that represents a brand, then you can go and take this to like that whole other level and really kind of grow, and everybody prospers. It's a win for each of you. And that's how it has to be. It's not you pulling a fast one over somebody else or them pulling one on you. It's that you both benefit from working together. It's the sum of both parts. So that's always a good thing.
So where can you do that?
Expo.
At an expo. Yep. And obviously some people skills and awareness are involved, because if someone is stocking their booth or they're busy or something, don't just barge up and say, I want to represent your shit.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want that.
Take a look at my giant fish.
Yes.
They let me fish.
They let me fish.
Oh, the big question. So I think the takeaway from all this is get out to your local expos. Trust me, it's there. Like, even if you don't necessarily buy a thing, you'll have your finger on the pulse of what's going on, and you can connect to the scene in what you're doing. So local expos, great place to do that. Plus, if you're looking at tournament fishing, that's a great way to meet people who are already doing it, and in some cases you might even meet some people who are running trails and can get some more information about that. So we have a little episode feature. We're going to be talking about that specifically. That's down the road. But Sean, are you ready? Sean, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was some pretty significant snowfall over the weekend.
Shenanigan-worthy snowfall.
Shenanigan-worthy. I'm going to tell you, this hadn't dawned on me until you had started talking about like the hotel situation and everything there, and the plowing and all that stuff, or in some cases, I think the lack thereof. But there was when I arrived on Sunday at the show, the parking lot there was an absolute train wreck. There were cars all over the place, so you can only do so much, but most cars you had to climb in and out of snow to get in and out of your car to get it around. So like it was a mess. I get it. That's nothing. I'm not saying FTG about that. But I do want to go and throw a big ol' double finger in the air, FTG, for whoever made the decision we heard from a very close friend of the show about how a 16-foot cube van?
Yep.
I think it was a 16 footer.
So.
Yeah, buried in 30 inches of snow. And this is where you're talking about the show ends. You pack it up. You got to get all your stuff out there. So, I mean, that just sucks. And the worst part was the feedback from the point of contact of this parking lot there was, well, you know, what are we supposed to do? If we didn't plow, you guys would be pissed too. Or the even better is the well, I have to dig my car out as well. Like, that's not a 16-foot truck.
And that was on Sunday?
That was on Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday morning.
That was but that was at the hotel.
Yeah, that was at the hotel.
Not where the
Expo.
Expo.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was at the hotel.
I mean, I don't know what the conditions were. I mean, when I left, I understand like that hotel also had easy 30 to anywhere between 30 and 50 utility trucks. Because of the high winds, there were crews that were ready to go and they were staying there. Like a lot of times, you know, utility crews will come up from different parts of the country to help out with stuff. Like take the California wildfires. Everybody in the country had firefighters helping with those things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that parking lot was packed. I kind of get it, but I mean, it's just a shit situation. But I don't know what else we could say, like how to fix that. You know, I hate to say it. If the clerk at the desk had said there was nothing we could do, I have to dig my car out too. Could there have been a way to coordinate with at least some of the guests so that maybe only one or two cars this happens to? I mean, that parking lot at the hotel where I was going to stay was tight. That wasn't a big parking lot. It was very tight. But then you compound it with 30 to 50 utility trucks and shit got squeaky tight.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, definitely fuck that. That sucks. I don't know of a way around it though. You know what I mean?
I think the right way to handle this, and I can remember this used to piss me off too. But back when I worked in television, we had two very tight parking lots. And they were connected by a small driveway that connected each one. And what they basically did was they would make an announcement, you know, in the PA, basically like, if you're parked in this lot, move to the front or move to the back, whichever. They would clean out that one, then move to the other. And it made the most sense. Does it suck? It sucks. But at least then you could say, hey, we reached out to all the guests. You know, that were there. And we told them, this is when we're plowing, move your car, or this is what's going to happen. Or imagine the technology if they just sent an email, because I'm sure that there's an email attached to every account so that even if you're not there to move your car, you then know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know, if nothing else. So, I mean, that's just a shitty thing to have to wake up to. You're like, oh, okay, cool. It's going to be a real busy day. You know, things are great. Yesterday was a total wash for the show. Oh, we show up and like, oh, well, now I have to dig into the truck before I can even get out of here. That's the one fine way to start your morning. Like when I heard about this, I was like, you got to be kidding. That's awful. And I feel like, I mean, you know, we've talked about it before, like the slow decomposition of what customer service has turned into in like our current point in history. Like it's almost just like, you know, well, hey, you're lucky you're getting anything. You know what I mean? It's tough.
In particular, the past 2 years, businesses don't have the employees to do the customer service, and they, you know,
and
I get it. It sucks.
It does suck, but it's like there is this air of like, well, too bad. You know, I'm here doing my job. You know, it's like, I mean, there's got to be sensitivity all the way around, clearly, but like at the same time, like throw us a bone. You know, it's crazy. So yeah, fuck that guy that made the call. That we're just gonna plow everybody in, and that way everybody's screwed. You know, dump all this shit. I agree. Over the place. Yeah, what can you do, man? What can you do? But so we have now you already talked about chronic trips in segment 1. You're going to hold off until we get to episode 101?
101. We're starting fresh. We're going to talk about chronic trips. My challenge is you got a couple weeks until that episode, folks. Jump on.
Get on the board.
Yeah. Jump on. Ice is out. You know, they're catching fish down at Kissimmee. There's fish in Florida that are biting.
Yeah, there's fish in Florida.
I'm sure there's fish in between. between here
Exactly.
and Florida.
If you got open
So-
water, you've got no reason to not jump on. So go ahead, join Chronic Trips, use Fishing Chaos, search Chronic Trips, you'll find it, jump in there, enter. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Guys, this is a short, sweet segment 2. When we get back from this break, we've got Mike Goes Fishing. He is doing this. We've got him in the beef seat. We're going to talk about with Mike. We're going to learn about his likes and dislikes, what's going on with him on the water, and we're going to talk. We talk a lot about Sixth Sense too, and we will see you guys right after this quick message. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. Hey guys, Bobby Roast Beef here on location, and I got to throw this out here. Powered by Naqua. I'm actually running my digital recorder right now from Zoom from the Naqua power bank. I've done this before. It works like a charm. It is so freaking awesome. But I'm here recording live at the New England Fishing Expo at the Boxborough Regency here in Boxborough, Massachusetts. And man, there's so much good stuff around here. So many amazing exhibitors. Whatever you're looking for, whether you're looking for baits, rods, reels, different types of line. We've got plastics. Swim baits are the word up around here. Your boy's about to drop some Benjis on some swim bait stuff. I don't even know why. Blame the butcher. But we have an awesome interview that we're going to conduct here at live right here at the Expo, and I have Mike Potter with me, and you might know Mike as Mike Goes Fishing on YouTube. Yeah, Mike Goes Fishing. You know, the Sixth Sense guy. Yeah, we're talking to him right now. Mike, how you doing? How's things out where you are?
I'm doing great, man. I cannot complain. I went out fishing yesterday,
Nice.
and today I'm just hanging out, staying out of the cold.
That's
'cause
awesome.
I froze to the bones yesterday.
Oh, I believe it. Now, you and I had a little conversation before we started recording about like location and dealing with weather and stuff. And now, are you out getting on the ice out where you are, or do you still have access to open water?
So our pretty much our only open water right now is any river with some pretty decent current.
Gotcha.
So yesterday I went and fished the river. It's one of our big rivers in search of some steelhead, maybe early steelhead. They really don't start until March, but you never know.
Yeah,
You kind of want to be the first guy
Definitely.
to hook into the first chromer of the winter. So, but other than that, I'll be on the ice, not too far away from home, getting some perch and panfish.
nice. That's awesome, man. Last weekend, I got out for the first time in like over 25 years, and got
Jeez.
out, did some fishing on the ice, had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. I can't believe I've let it go that long before actually going out, because it's a completely different kind of animal, but it's a fun little excursion nonetheless. Even if it's only a couple times a year, I'll take it. It's definitely worth doing.
Yeah, and you guys take it to the extreme with the whole cookouts and everything. That is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, the crew we went with, they don't mess around. They do it the right way. You know, it's like you see some of these real like purists. They go out and they're like not even using tip ups. Like they'll go out with a jig, with a small auger and they'll just jig through the ice and catch what they catch. And lots of times, I mean, the fish taste best if you're gonna eat your catch. They are going to be the best through the ice. Like cold fish are the best tasting fish, and
Yes.
it's just like. God, that's the way to do it. But like when I see people out there doing that, I'm like, oh, you're not doing it right. You need a grill. You need some kind of some sort of a way to, if nothing else, you got to be able to make coffee while you're out there and keep yourself warm. Yeah, I think that's an absolute must. So. Let's get a little bit of info about your background as far as fishing and stuff. Like, tell me the story about like how you were introduced to the sport, how you kind of like fell into it, and to the point like where now you're making videos and you've got great content that you're putting out there for the masses to see, and sort of kind of creating a little community with it too. But also to the point like where you're like hooked up like with probably one of my favorite bait companies I've ever tied on before. Like, walk me through all this because I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh man, I tell you what, the process is a long process to begin with.
Yep.
But I started fishing ever since I could hold a fishing rod and go out with my dad and understand the concept of when a bobber goes down, you get your hook set and you reel that thing in. So
yep.
I've been fishing for all of my life. I owe that to my dad, my grandfather, for always having me outdoors and everything. So, and plus I'm from Michigan, so I feel like 90% of the people in Michigan do something outdoors. It's a really big deal here. We have so much public land, so much water, and so much pristine land, which is even better. But eventually after college, because a lot of people have a falling out. It seems that they have a falling out between like high school and college or whatever goes on when it comes to fishing. But after college, I got into bass fishing again and started kind of taking it seriously. I started with a Lucky Tackle box. Mm-hmm. So I started getting my lures back in the day when they were super popular.
Oh yeah.
And started learning more and more about bass fishing. And eventually, you go along through time, you learn what's good and what's not good. And I learned that 6 cents fishing is like freaking awesome, man. I got sick of getting all these random lures from the tackle box. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're all good stuff. They're going to catch you fish, but
sure.
I wanted something a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so I found 6 cents. Got my first sack from them. I think that was 2018.
Oh wow!
First
nice.
lures from them, and then I think I caught my first fish on the Divine swim jig. That was my very first.
I love that
swim jig from them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. I think
love that
that's
jig.
That's how a lot of people get hooked up with their just fall in love with their products. So
yeah, Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it was also around the time where, so I got it in March, and then the spawn is in May into April.
Yep.
So I was fishing that swim jig all the way through the spawn, and it was such a good year. All the bass were just lined up every 5-6 feet. I'm just tossing this jig in there, getting like 2.5-3 pound bass. That's pretty big for around here. Just
That's
all
awesome.
the way along the bank. So yeah, kind of went from there.
See, I feel like where you're at in the country, like you said, the spawn is in that like late April into May. I feel like that's exactly where we're at too, like out here, where you get into this, like everybody tries to jump the gun and they're like, oh yeah, March, I'm going to get out there in March. It's going to be great. And it's like, you're just getting into that pre-spawn. And it can be slow going, but man, when it delivers, it just delivers. And it's like, I genuinely, almost to a fault, I try to carry the thought that a jig is a jig, a plastic is a plastic, a bait is basically a bait. And I know that, obviously I think with hard baits, it's a little bit, there's it's a little bit different, but like especially like when it comes to jigs and plastics, I generally try to think that way, where I'm just like, yeah, it's not about the brand, it's not about the packaging, it's not about whatever. Is it a decent hook? Is it a decent quality product that comes out there? But one thing I'll tell you, like, so that Divine Swim jig, I started fishing that in like June of this year. And I'd always kind of written off swim jigs. I throw a lot of casting jigs and flipping jigs. But when it comes to, using a jig as a moving bait, wasn't really a presentation I was super, focused in. And I think it was probably about May or June. I want to say it was during the first Jigs and Bigs nationwide CPR tournament, which was in May last year. And if it was in May, that's when I first picked up that hybrid swim, that Divine swim jig, and it was just like, holy crap, just amazing. I've realized that there are two people in this world, those that are like, they appreciate a screw lock, and then those that are just like, this drives me bananas. And if you're into changing your trailers a bunch, yeah, probably not for you. But if you're like, no, I want this trailer to stay put because I believe this is the jam, I mean, you can't go wrong, And once you figure how to rig your trailers and do it the right way and all that stuff, it's like it's really, this year that jig has been the most performing bait for me overall. It was second to was a Ned rig, but also this year another 6 Cents product that got me on my PB was the Provoke 106.
Oh yeah,
on April the 25th. Yeah,
that is a bait. Man, that is the best jerkbait I have ever used, and I could never find a proper jerkbait that I liked that gave me the right action, that gave me the right suspending. And then I used that for the first time, like legitimately last year, March. Water's still cold, it's super windy, and I just caught one after another bass in cold water. It's amazing.
It really does. It's almost like it's got an e-brake, and it just stops right there. So let's talk about like your preferences for when you're out fishing, because like I said, like us anglers that are up here in the north, like we have 4 real seasons. Some are shorter than the others, but like, when I hear folks down south and they're talking about like, oh, it's winter, it's so cold, the water's 51 degrees. There aren't enough middle fingers for me to put up at the TV when I'm watching some of these videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't exist. For you, what's the most like comfortable season to go out there?
So for me, I really like spring. I like that spawn fishing, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. You can wear a sweatshirt if you want, be super comfortable and just sit there, because if you're bed fishing, that bass thing, it's not going anywhere, and sometimes most of the time they're super stubborn.
Yeah, it's true.
You can comfortably sit there and just work on a fish and watch it do everything it's doing down there and staring at your bait. And, you can watch it do the gill flares. I think spring allows me to learn fish behavior more than any other season of the year.
Yep.
So
yeah, and it's definitely like, it makes it, as you're picking up this information and you can visually see it, especially in the shallows during the spawn, it does. I think that's where like a lot of people probably would gravitate toward spring, is where they sort of start to unlock it a little bit more. You start getting into like winter or the serious heat of the summer, where fish are a little bit more temperamental. And it's like, that's where it's like that you have to do, it's like a whole other kind of study into behavior and stuff.
That's when it gets hard. Really hard.
I can get nuts. What's your top 3? What would you say are your top 3 go-to confidence baits?
So I'm going to have to say, I'm biased, so this is all going to be 6 Cents stuff.
Fair enough.
And it's all I have. It's all I use anyway, for the most part. But I'm going to have to go with that Divine Swim jig with the Divine Swim bait, because the durability of that Divine Swim bait as a trailer for that swim jig is it is just unreal. That thing is going to last you all day, if not like several weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to have to say the Clout stickworm.
Yeah, I haven't used the Clout.
Oh, you got to get your hands on some. You got to try them. It's quite incredible. That diamond texture does some amazing stuff while it's under the water. And then I'll actually have it weighted and weightless. It depends on what the fish are doing. So if they're suspending, kind of looking at things and they're not really committing, I will do it weightless.
Yep.
If they're kind of looking at the bottom more, I'll give some weight to it.
Now, do you usually fish that? Do you usually wacky rig that or Texas rig it?
Oh, I definitely wacky rig.
All right.
There's a vendetta between me and the Texas rig, and I don't understand why I can't get it to work, but I just can't.
I hear you.
And then I have a topwater, the Splashback 90, the popper from 6th Sense Fishing. The larger size. I will use that as my main topwater bait.
No kidding.
So those treble hooks, you can't go wrong with topwater and treble hooks because 90% of the time they're not getting away. So.
Oh, no, I agree 100%. It's funny. Like, I have one of those poppers. I picked it up because it has a really unique shape. It's almost like longer one way than it is, a circular shape necessarily. It just kind of sits really great in the water. And I've only thrown it a couple of times. Poppers aren't generally, like, usually when I'm fishing a popper, I'm fishing a popping frog because I have to. It's like there's not enough slop that I'm in the area where I'm fishing, but maybe there's grass or something, like just subsurface. It's not like super dense. Like I couldn't punch through it or anything like that. It's so heavy. Where I'll use a popping frog, specifically. But in those situations, it's funny. Like sometimes I feel like they want a walking bait. Sometimes I feel like they might want a popper. So I like the idea. But when I saw that, I was like, this is a great popper. Like it just looks amazing. There's one other popper that I've used, and it's by Booyah, and it's the weirdest popper I've ever seen. It's got a funky name.
Which one is that?
I can't think of the name of it. Name escapes me, but it has a lip, almost like a crankbait.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
weird.
And it's kind of crazy because it almost like you can almost just straight retrieve it, almost like a wake bait. I caught my old PB chain pickerel on that popper, and I was like, this thing is amazing. It's super finesse, just crazy light. Had to throw it on spinning tackle, but it was just absolutely crazy, man. Yeah, that's a pretty good list though. I mean, you kind of have all the water column too, I mean, you got the swim jig, you got your what was the second one you said your clout,
the stick bait,
the stick bait, and then you got your topwater, so you got options, things that you can play with. That's awesome, man. And I think, honestly, any jig fisherman, regardless of the type of jig, I feel like somewhere in there they're going to say a stick bait as their follow-up. I just feel like that's the way it is. So let's talk as far as like, one of the things I'm a huge believer in is that what makes fishing so unique is that if you can go out and have the worst day possible, but if you're with the right group of people, you can turn a day that's just absolute hell on earth into the most memorable experience at all. Who are 3 people that you would specifically love to fish with? They can be living or dead, they can be famous, they can be people you actually know, it doesn't matter.
I would love to fish with my grandfather again. He lives up in the UP, the Upper Peninsula.
Oh yeah.
All the way at the top. So there's a mountain chain up there called the Porcupine Mountains.
Oh, okay.
So right next to Lake Superior. And he only comes down once or twice every year to come hang out. So going up there and fishing with him would be amazing more often. That's awesome. Then somebody who is dead, I would love to see if Elvis is into some fishing. I'm a big Elvis listener, believe it or not.
Really? Okay.
And, I think it would be cool to go fishing with him.
Huh.
And then my dad, I would love to go fishing with my dad some more.
Oh yeah.
He stopped to being. He used to be a super outdoorsman, go hunting, fishing all the time, and then he fell out of it for a few years. So I've been trying to get him back out there more and more often. So those are my 3 people right there.
That's awesome, man. It's so funny. Like you nailed it when you were talking about how it's one of those things where I've noticed too. Like generally, even if you're super crazy into the outdoors, like a lot of people, they have this lull where they put it down, and it's usually like sometime in high school or into college, or sometimes it's even further, like all through their 20s. Like for me, I didn't pick up fishing until I was in my mid 30s again. And what's funny is, like, when the bug hit me, it hit me like crazy. And my dad was always super into the outdoors. Loved bird hunting, especially. Loves we used to go and practice archery all the time. And he loved fishing as well. Usually it was trout fishing, generally speaking, and almost always it was with live bait. But he hadn't really gotten out there too often. And just recently, this last fall, we had the opportunity to work with a rental property on Lake Champlain. And this was the biggest water I had ever fished. My father, when I was younger, used to go and take these trips with his buddies. And they would go and fish for pike and just have like this amazing like week-long trip up here. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take him up and go and do that. And man, we had like the greatest. I was actually talking with the guys from Cashian because I bought him a Cashian combo. I bought him, I forget what series rod it is, but he was the kind of guy that would never like spend any like money on quality equipment. Like, you know, hey, and there's nothing, hey, you use the equipment you have, you know, it's awesome, but he would never indulge.
Right.
And we went out on this one trip. We were out on this boat, and we each had like the best day of our lives fishing. It was amazing. He caught like 6 tanks. It was ridiculous. And he did it, and I love saying this too, he did it on one single Ned bait.
Jeez.
All of it. Just he never changed
rig,
anything.
man.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm changing up stuff left and right. I'm like, oh, we're fishing deep. I'm going to drop shot for this. My dad's like, nope. And I think that's the thing. It's like, and it was kind of the same thing. Like he would go out and fish every once in a great while. Like if, you know, there was nothing going on at work, they had the afternoon free, he might go wet a line, you know, with the guys that he works with or something. But he didn't really like make it like a priority to go out of his way to go and do it. We had the greatest time. So I'm thinking this summer we're gonna have to go and do that. I got to get him out on the kayak. That's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be a ton of fun.
I
man.
think he'd absolutely love it. So yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. Now, this is a 2-parter question.
Okay.
When you're out fishing, now obviously, like, you know, you're making, you know, YouTube content specifically. I would assume you're probably not, but when you're just out fishing for the hell of it, do you listen to music when you fish?
I actually do not. I focus on just about everything while I'm on the water. So if there's any little bit of hint of sound where these fish might be, or, you know, I look at the water and I scan everything. I see where the bait are, where these bass are.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times I'll be fishing somewhere and then I'll hear something off in the background. I'll look over there and there's a school of bass blowing up on some bait or something. So I'll have to run over there and capitalize on that. So sound it seems pretty important to me while I'm fishing.
No, definitely. So the question is this: when you're going to fish, what do you put on the way there to get hyped up? What does it for you?
I will actually listen to some deathcore or metalcore on my way there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge metalhead, so.
Nice. Actually, yeah, because I think your intro music is pretty aggro, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I like to try and add it in my videos, so I'll put a little bit in the intro.
Yep.
And then I definitely have it on the outro, that little 20-second, like, hey, check out my other content stuff. I'll put it in there.
Exactly. Cool, man. That's the thing. I love, like, especially with music, because it's like, you know, some people have specific stuff that they want to listen to while they're fishing. And I had this last year, I used to listen to stuff all the time, just out of, especially when I almost exclusively was bank fishing. I'd be fishing like during the day, and I would have to take a call, you know, because I work for myself. So I would have like one earbud in, and I would just say, you know what, I'll put the other one in, I'll listen to some music, and I'll fish, and it'll be great, and I'll take whatever calls I need to, it'll be fine. And it was okay. You're 100% right, though. I feel like you got to be connected to nature, and what really changed things is when I got on the kayak was I ditched the headphones, and I would just use a small Bluetooth speaker right on the boat, just a subtle like volume level, just real quiet, nothing too out of control. But what I've noticed is sometimes I'll adjust my playlist for the way I have to be fishing to focus. And like in the summer, this happened on multiple occasions where I was just like, I am not connecting with any of these fish. I know that they're down here, but they're not, what's up. And I would need to slow down, and I would put on like a slow blues playlist, or I would play like, Since I've Been Loving You from Led Zeppelin, like that's the slow blues like that. And or other times where I've got to like really be on it, because I fish finesse a lot. That's my preference. Sometimes if they're really reacting, I'll put on something that's a lot more up tempo to try to like in my own mind kind of like keep myself like in time with that somehow. It's just crazy. I don't know.
I believe that it can definitely help people, and it can hinder people. It just depends on who you are. I can see how it could help with cadence. That the beats and the
especially
beats per minute.
Beats per minute. Yeah. Especially with jerkbaits, it's like, oh yeah, slow down, dummy. Okay, there we go. Yeah, maybe this is going to be a good Grateful Dead morning. We'll see. So let's talk as far as, have you ever traveled specifically to fish, like cross state lines?
I've never traveled specifically to fish, but when I went to Florida last year, I decided to pick up a cheap Bass Pro $25 combo. Nice. And we were right next to a golf course, so obviously I had to go to the golf course ponds and see what was in there. Yep. I absolutely had to. I couldn't avoid it.
That's what I mean. You owe it to yourself, really.
I caught like a 2.5 pound largemouth out of there. It's pretty cool. The only one I caught, and then I almost ended up walking into a gator.
Oh, that was gonna be my next question.
He was like 4 or 5 feet long and just hidden in the tall grass. I had no idea that he was there until he hissed at me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go the other way, buddy.
Oh yeah. It's funny. I recently had joined a couple of kayak fishing groups on Facebook just to kind of like jump into the conversation and kind of like see what people were talking about. And the question came up. Somebody from up north had asked, they're like, all the southern anglers that are out there that are where you would have gators, how often do you have to deal with them, and what's it generally like? And there were a number of them that were just like, you're never even going to know they're there. Like, they want to avoid you more than you realize. But then you see, like, I don't know if you've seen this video. There was this video of this guy in his, I think it was a Hobie kayak, and he was picking up, I think they were jug fishing, and he was pulling up the line, and he had his kid in the back of the kayak. You could hear him, like, making noise. And he goes and he was pulling up this line. He's like, oh, I got a big one on here. And then the snout of this gator just comes out of the water.
Oh, yep.
And he drops it and just starts pedaling. The kids start screaming. I'm like, yeah. That's when I'm just like, I'm done. Nope. My God. What is your bucket list, like, of lakes that you want to fish?
Bucket list of lakes I want to fish.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to fish Lake St. Clair.
Yeah.
For the obvious reason that the smallmouth are just insane up there, and that's probably one of my favorite species to catch. So, Lake St. Clair is on that list.
That's awesome, man.
I don't know if there's any. Probably, if I were to travel out of state, probably Lake Okeechobee, because that's just you have to. But other than that, those are two bucket list places to fish.
Yeah, I think everybody's got something, and it's, you always hear like a lot of those names. You always hear Okeechobee. You always hear Eufaula. That's another one that comes up, or Ray Roberts. That comes up a lot too. It's nuts. Lake of the Ozarks is another one, because we've had a lot of guests on from that area, and a lot of people are just like, I feel like Missouri has some amazing fishing, and
Oh yeah, it's insane over there.
Everybody I've spoken to, they're just like, yeah, it's bananas.
They're lucky. They are so lucky.
Guys don't know. Like anybody that's south of, like, let's say Virginia. Like, and even Virginia, like, I would take Virginia's weather now. I'd be all right with that. but man, it's just, It is awful. Like I actually get like that seasonal depressive disorder is real, and I think it happens for me once we get skim ice, because with skim ice, there's just nothing you can do about it.
There's a good amount of time where it's like you cannot do anything unless you have rivers with fish in it. Yeah,
and for a short while, I was making it a point to get out to those rivers and do as much fishing as I could, and then we just got so freaking cold to the point where now even all that is just too iced up to fish.
It's painful too.
Yeah. It's not a good time. Not a good time at all. So let's talk gear. When you're going out for a day, whether you're shooting a video, you're just fun fishing or something like that. When you go out, what's your rod and reel arsenal typically look like?
So I have a 7-foot medium heavy that I take with me. That's going to be my crankbait rod, my jig rod, it's just a universal rod that can almost do just about anything. And then I'll take out a 611 ESP spinning rod.
Okay.
For my finesse fishing / just smaller profile baits.
Yep.
And then I'll take out an extra heavy. What is that? That's a 7.5 extra heavy for all my top water stuff. And then if I have to throw something a little bit heavier to punch through grass or anything like that.
There you go. That's awesome. I love that question because I feel like there is a spectrum of rods that people bring out.
Yes.
When they put together, and you can interpret that in so many different ways, and I love to see how people kind of break it down. It's so cool, People have their favorites, and I also love the fact that like it's not universal from brand to brand. Like one brand's medium heavy might be a little bit softer than another's, versus,
there's vast difference when it comes to brands.
It really is. Like you can mix it up so much. There's it's endless possibilities and endless combinations that you could create. It's freaking so cool. So now the next question is this, and I know Sean the Fisherman loves this question, but so here's the imaginary situation, okay? Sean the Fisherman and I are in the white Jigs and Bigs van, and we've got the corporate card burning a hole in our pockets. We're on our way to Michigan to pick you up and we're going to take you to an unnamed body of water. We have no idea the conditions, no idea the structure, nothing, no clue, because we've never fished there, and we're just going to assume that you've never fished there either. So that's the idea. But here's the deal. You can use anything in your tackle box that you want. You can bring all the baits. That's fine. You'll have all that access. But you need to build one rod, put one reel on it, and then you've got to spool it with some type of line. And Sean likes to say no leaders. So we're going to go with those rules there. What would you rig up? And keep in mind, like if this is a dream combo you want to put together, you can build it, and it's on the Jigs and Bigs card. If not, then it's something already in your arsenal. Stick with that. It's totally up to you.
Alrighty, so I'm going to bring up that spinning rod again. I think I'm going to go with the 611 6-inch fishing ESP rod.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go with a Abu Garcia, I think it's a Pro Max. It's kind of like their mid-tier spinning reel.
Mm-hmm.
It's got all their components on their very expensive reels, kind of like some of their components, not all of them.
Yeah.
But so it acts similar. And then I think I'm going to put some, let's say, 12-pound monofilament on there. So we're going for versatility.
Yep.
I just think that spinning rod is super versatile, and then you can do a lot with that, especially with a mono or a braid, whatever.
Yep.
But that should cover all the spectrums on whichever secret lake we're going to.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And it's funny. Like so when I first got into baitcasters, I had bought a used. Oh, what was it? I forget what it was, but I bought a used reel at an expo. I was like, I'm going to be a baitcaster. This is what I'm going to do. And I bought a used reel, and it was, I think what had happened was somebody whoever owned this beforehand probably took it apart to clean it and had extra parts. Because it just, it never really seemed to work just right as far as like adjusting tension or the brakes or anything like that. Like it just never really seemed to work right. So what I did was I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to buy something new in a box, and I bought a Black Max. And I liked it.
Yep.
I liked it. It definitely did the job. But I went to I had my old, this is years ago, my spectrum for bait casters was, since the 7-foot medium heavy is so universal, like it's so versatile as far as being able to do a wide range of things, what I did was I bought 2 or 3 of the same rod, one that I really liked. And what I would do is I would make these different combos, and I would have one that I would use for topwater that just had braid. Then I had another one that was fluoro. And what I did was I went to go get another Black Max, and I couldn't. So I was like, oh, well, I can get this Pro Max for just a little bit more than that. Well, I'm going to go for it. What a difference. I still fish with that Pro Max today.
The Pro Maxes, I don't know what they do to them, but they're freaking awesome.
Yeah, they're just
like, amazing.
They're just solid, like budget-friendly reels. And every time somebody asks about, hey, I'm getting into a fishing, and I want to put together a combo, what should I look for? As soon as somebody mentions the Black Max, or I think now they just call it the Abu Garcia Max, and I tell them, I'm like, that is really great. And if you got to look in that budget, if you're looking at that like $30 to $40 budget, go for it. You will not be upset. It is a great reel. But if you want to get something that's a little bit more, and I mean, the frame is still, it's not a metal frame reel at all. It's, but you're right. Like, I feel like the spool tension lends itself a lot closer to something in a much higher price category.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
It's pretty awesome.
And the thing is, I don't want to say I abuse my gear, but I kind of toss it around. I throw it in the dirt, throw it in the mud. So it's in the sand, and it's like something like a Shimano is great and all. Yeah. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be babying it because it's a Shimano. So if I can get something that can survive my kind of fishing, then definitely. Cheap, that's amazing.
And do you primarily bank fish, or are you getting out on the water?
I primarily bank fish, but since I just moved up to a little bit more north. Bank fishing is almost impossible unless I go back towards the city. Yeah. So I'm going to be looking into getting some sort of watercraft, just get on the water. Because I got 5 lakes around me, and they're amazing fishing lakes, so I have to.
100%, man. It is a game changer. Like I love bank fishing, but my point with that is that like bank fishing is so difficult on your gear. Like you don't have the deck of a bass boat or rod holders to put your stuff in. You're leaning rods up against all kinds of stuff, whether it be trees or they're falling over. It's like it's not always, although there are some tools that can make it really, really convenient. I think it's called a rod runner. Have you ever seen one of these? It's
who makes it?
I think the company's called Rod Runner.
Is it? Okay.
It looks, it's almost like a golf bag style design for your fishing rods. You can put, I think, up to 5 on one, and you basically grab it by a handle. There's a couple of legs that kick out that'll hold it up in place. So it'll definitely it is a possibility. Like you can take care of your stuff. But I've been down by the Connecticut River before fishing, and up there's a couple of spots where I like to fish where the water in the rivers fluctuates a lot. So like there's stuff that I'm like laying my gear down, and I'm like, I am really like not nice to this equipment at all.
No,
like, I'm really not. And it's just like it's sort of part of the territory. Like I don't. Very few times have I bought equipment and I'm like, I'm expecting that I'm going to be using this in a decade from now, But
no way.
The older that I get, the more I'm kind of starting to see like there is quality stuff out there that's at that level. It's just, you just got to take care of it.
Got to find it.
Yeah, 100%, dude. So we're gonna go ahead and get to our. I've been forgetting this question, and I don't know why. I feel like I needed to ask you it. What's your favorite chicken joint? And the caveat is, chicken joint. It has to either have a drive-through, or it has to be from a gas station.
Oh man, I can't say Chick-fil-A. I don't really eat that.
Thank God.
They put some weird stuff in the chicken. KFC, that's the only place I really eat any chicken from if I'm going through a drive-thru or something, is KFC.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. 11 herbs and spices got the job done before. Hell yeah.
Still does.
Nice. So the whole cornerstone of this entire show is it's all about fishing stories. Either the one that got away or achieving new goals, all that kind of stuff. This is what the stuff that Jigs and Bigs is all about. What I want from you is 2 stories. One of them is like the moment that you're the most proud of on the water, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a PB or anything, and you can definitely mention that if you want to. That's no problem. But the other story, and I think the more entertaining one, is the biggest sort of that moment. And any fisherman has no shortage of those stories.
Okay. So my proudest moment would have to be me and my buddy went to a new lake that was a little bit north. We've never been there before. We're like, yeah, let's just go check this out of a whim. And it's a smaller lake. We didn't look at topographicals or anything. We're just going there. We're going to break it down and look at it.
Yep.
Proudest moment was when we both figured out that this lake is a crankbait lake. And there are not many lakes around here where you can use crankbaits because of the amount of weeds and grass. Just clogs everything up. But I took that 6 Sense Movement 80X, and I pulled out a 4-pounder right at the boat. That thing was down about 3 feet, and then just when it gets to the boat, I begin to lift it up out of the water, and this 4-pound bass just comes out of nowhere like a shark and latches onto this thing. Really? And just starts going to town. I boat flipped it and everything because BFO, boat flips only. But yeah, that was the proudest moment, is breaking down a lake and catching a big fish out of it that we've just never been to before. Yeah. And then my saddest moment was I was fishing a small pond in summer, sometimes summer, maybe it was right before fall.
Yep.
Set my rods down like I always do. It doesn't matter what's there. I just set them down in it. And then get done with fishing, go home. And 2 days later, I start getting a rash. I get poison ivy. I get poison ivy really, really bad, right where you would usually have your grips from your fishing rods on your arms.
No. Oh my God.
I was like, no freaking way did I put my rods into a patch of poison ivy and get this crap, because I'm allergic to it. So yeah, that was a fun month. Yeah, it lasted forever. And my arms were just terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
And it's true. A lot of people, they just think poison ivy affects like everybody. That's not true.
Mm-mm.
Like some people get it way worse than others. Other people, they're just not allergic to it at all, and they've never ever have an issue with it. But oh man, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, and it sucks because you don't know it's there. It just gets on everything, and then later you find out, oh great, I gotta alcohol wipe all my gear and then suffer for quite a while
until it's gone. But dude, that's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, Mike. Well, hey, do me a favor, man. Now's your opportunity. Go ahead and let people know where they can find your content, where they can get in touch with you, all that kind of stuff. If you want to, shout out any, I know obviously 6 Sense and stuff, but if you have anybody, any other supporters, something you want to shout out, now this is your moment. Go for it.
You can find me on Mike Goes Fishing on Instagram, and then it's also going to be on YouTube. It's also going to be on Facebook. I don't use the Facebook, so don't expect to find me there. But yep, those two for the main part. And then I just want to say thanks to Six Sense Fishing for having me on the team and believing in me and supporting me in everything I do. It's been awesome being on that team. It's incredible. All those guys on there are beyond my level, and it's a big inspiration to do better at what I'm doing.
That's
and
so
then,
cool.
I got working with Waterland too, because that's the other company
That's
that
awesome.
they've created.
Yep.
So I really enjoy their sunglasses. I'm a big sight fisherman, so I love being able to see the fish and learning what the bottom looks like. I think it's important. So thanks to Team Waterland, they're awesome too. And then thanks to Zach Kinnart and Casey Sobzak, the marketing expert, the head guy of marketing, Zach Kinnart from Sixth Sense. He's the guy that puts together the pro staff. So he's super awesome. Thank you to him and getting everyone's orders. And then Casey is the owner of Sixth Sense. He's super cool.
I've heard.
And I'm glad to be able to talk to him every so often and see what's up. So
that's
thank
awesome,
you to you, man.
Yeah,
I love being on the show.
Thank you to you. We're glad to have you on. That's the whole thing, man. We are glad to just have you on, and that's like what it's all about. It's the name of the game, fishing, sharing stories, meeting people that have the same passion. That's the name of the game. Do me a favor, Mike. Send me a pic of you just like absolutely holding a giant, and we're going to use that for the artwork for this next episode number 99.
Awesome, man. I'm glad to be episode 99.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a banger.
I can definitely do that.
Awesome, dude. All right, well, you have yourself a good one. I'm going to head over to the Fresh Baits booth and record with those guys, and then I think I'm going to pack it up, man. It's been a day.
All right.
Yeah, before I end up buying another rod. Oy vey. Have a good one, Mike. Thanks so much.
Have a good one, man.
All right, take care, buddy. See ya.
See ya.
Bye. Well, that's going to do it for us this week on Jigs and Bigs, guys. It's been an amazing week. We have had such an awesome time. Just getting out there at this expo this week. We're planning for our 100th show. It's going to be very, very exciting. Just want to, can't stress how much it would really, really help us if you guys could go ahead and order your tickets on jigsandbigs.com in advance of the show. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. Got to speak with Fishing with Becca, and she's looking forward to this. And from what this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like a whole crew for this AMA. I'm very excited to give some amazing prizes to some amazing folks. So go ahead, get yourselves all hooked up and get yourself some tickets. And remember, as another reminder, we've got that brand new Jigs and Bigs Essential store that's set up with all your essential Jigs and Bigs merch that you can pick up with that logo, with our original logo. We've got t-shirts. It's the new improved FTG t-shirt. We've got a hoodie as well. And on top of that, we've got 3 different hats. We've got a flat bill. We've got a trucker cap. We also have a dad style hat, like more of a relaxed fit cap. Plus, we got a beanie too. I forgot to mention the beanie earlier. Yeah, so if you want a knit cap and you're into that, I mean, I have a daughter who loves to wear a knit cap all year long, like even this summer. I don't know how she does it. It's weird. It's gross. Whatever. Anyway, guys, sit right back and enjoy this winter season. Get out to your local fishing shows. Consume as much podcast content as you can from good fishing folks like us. And remember, like we always say, once that open water hits and you can get out there, have yourselves a good one. We will see you guys in 7 days with a brand new episode, the 100th episode of Jigs and Bigs. Have yourselves a great one, everybody. Take good care and tight line.